This video is unscripted, so it has my full honest opinions, but it will have stuttering and repetitive words, so please listen carefully. This video contains mentions of self-harm, grooming, pedophilia, suggestive topics, and other things like that, so if you are triggered, stop and take a minute, but this video is important. I am not a commentary YouTuber at all, and I never thought that I would make a video like this, but I do think that it's important. In 2023, Winter BFDI, Diamonds Are Cool, Kawaii Owie, or whatever name you know them by, because they happen to change their username a lot because of the controversies that they got in. But in 2023, there was a video released about her and about the things that she did, which were very disgusting. And at the time when that video came out, I was dating her. So I'm gonna put the video on screen so that you can watch it before you watch this. Just look for it and then come back to this video. As I said, I was dating her at the time when that video came out. But our relationship was more than dating. She was actively grooming me at the time. She would use self-harm and herself really deeply so that I would just stop whatever I was doing and talk to her whenever she wanted me to. She would use this as an advantage over me to ask me for nude pictures of myself and simply exploit me at the time. And I stuck with her because I didn't want anything else bad to happen to her, because I felt so bad for her because I didn't want her to keep hurting herself for me, and I just didn't like it. As much as this was a long time ago, and as much as now I don't have proof due to deleted accounts, banned accounts, etc. from her and I, this all did very much happen, and there were people at the time to witness me in my depressive state and watch me message her whenever I needed to, care for her whenever she wanted me to, at school and other things like that. I do wish I had image proof like everyone else, because saying things like this without proof feels like I'm lying about it, and lying about things like this are really, really serious, and no one should ever be doing this. About a few months after people were telling me that she was a bad person, which I came to realize that she was, and then I had cut contact with her for, I'd say, about a year, until she came in contact with me telling me that she was sorry, which I did forgive her because I believe that people can change by experience, as I have changed from my problematic past as well. So I thought she would be able to change and stuff like that, which I was very much just in denial. When I came back into contact with her, she was still as manipulative to me as she was before, because when we were in contact, she would tell me I'm ghosting her every time I wouldn't message her, even if it was just for a short period of time, because of things I had to do and had to deal with, such as people passing away and just my life in general. Because I was getting help, I was in therapy at the time, and I just had stuff I had to do, you know? But she would use the excuse that I was ghosting her just so I could talk to her again, and she'd make me feel bad for her because she would tell me that she'd have no one else to talk to and have no friends. She then would be quick to get back into a relationship with me, as I was still very forgiving of her, but at the time I was also really desperate for a partner at the time because I was really lonely and I did genuinely have no one else to talk to at the time. The relationship did cut short as I just couldn't deal with her manipulating me anymore, as I figured it out as well. So then I cut contact with her and yet again stopped talking to her for another year, until we got back into contact again when I was in my Dandy's World phase, and whatever happened. Nothing really happened around this time as much. She was still quite manipulative to me, as she would get me to draw her a lot of art, because I did end up really appreciating her at the time, and I kind of have Stockholm syndrome or whatever, so I was still really attached to her at the time, so I ended up drawing a lot of art that she liked, and she kind of took advantage of this. We ended up not talking that much around this time because I was dealing with my own problematic stuff and writing docs and stuff because I did get exposed for old stuff at the time, and I wanted to resolve things, which I ended up getting help and getting on medication for the things that I needed to get help for, which kind of made me the person I am now. But I did end up cutting contact with her again. So there's a lot of times I did cut contact with her. But recently I did get back in contact with her because, like I said, I'm a very forgiving person, and she wanted to apologize, and she was one of the people that commissioned me the most, and I was very thankful for it. So I would keep letting her commission me because I'm glad I got money from her because I was at a hard time at myself because just getting back from the hospital and stuff, so it was like really hard for me at the time. As of late, we had a fallout between each other due to me apparently lying to her and not doing art for her because she's planning on commissioning me, but she's not paid me or anything quite as yet. So whenever I've said I've wanted to draw her things, she's gotten upset because I never like follow through. But it's never that I'm going to, it's always that I want to. She'd always say that she would send me videos on TikTok. She said that I never respond to them and only merely watch them, but I'm not always able to respond at every second. Lately, she has gotten upset at me while I have things to do. I was at a fucking funeral, and she literally, she told me I was a bad friend for not responding to her while tending to dead family, which is super messed up, and anything that has to do with family like that makes me really upset, and it's really unforgivable. Sure, it said I was online on Discord, and sure, I didn't tell her that I was doing that, but I don't have to tell her, every single detail of my life, especially something as personal as that. She was only complaining to me about the fact that I wouldn't draw her things, and she said that I was complaining about things not going my way. Things weren't going your way. Just because I have a life and I have things I need to do, and I wasn't drawing you art. I can, and I was willing to. After everything I had to do, and you were still complaining. You got upset at me when I told you why I was upset, because you at the time were talking about me yet again, quote unquote, ghosting you for doing things that I need to do in my life, and not talking to you while doing it. Which I barely talk to anyone. I don't really text people in general. I'm more of a call kind of person. And you still got upset at me anyway. I told you that I was upset because you kept saying I was quote unquote ghosting you. Because you used to do the same thing in the past, and it gave me an iffy feeling. So then when I told you, you said you didn't ghost me. And after telling you the things you did, you said it wasn't your intention the way you ghosted me. So basically, you're saying that willingly putting yourself for nudes wasn't your intention? Okay. Manipulating me into talking to you every second and using yourself as an excuse for me to talk to you wasn't your intention? That's very nice. That's wonderful. When you look up the term grooming, it says the action of attempting to form a relationship with a child or young person with the intention of sexually assaulting them or introducing them to commit an illegal act such as drugs or joining a terrorist organization. And I can loudly say you willingly did the first part to me with what you did, and it's really messed up. Said that I was lying too, but the only thing I ever lied about back then was my age, because I only lied to you and told you I was a year older than I actually was until Discord TOS, because then afterwards I turned 13 and you still talk to me regardless. It wouldn't have mattered if it happened 2, 3, 5, 10 years ago. You still did what you did, and you did it multiple times to me and other people, which is really unforgivable and just sad. You called our relationship merely just unhealthy while you were back then in our relationship, you were taking advantage of me at the time for your own personal desires. A lot of groomers don't going place to place just to find people to take advantage of. Sometimes it can happen over time, like I said in this message. And that's exactly what happened between you and me. I was a fan of you and you took advantage of that. Looking back at the definition, one of your biggest excuses back then was the fact that you were a minor as well. But people who are minors can groom. It doesn't matter if we were the same age or if you're older than me by a year or 5, you can still groom. And you are almost 18 now. You should know this. And I was there. I was willing to care for you and still be your friend after what you did. Another one of your longtime excuses was that you were groomed as well, but that doesn't excuse the fact that you pushed that onto other people as well. You groomed other people as well. Grooming isn't an excuse for grooming. It doesn't make sense. It's so terrible. Just because I made this video doesn't mean I hold any malice or resentment. If you find their socials, please do not harass them. Harassment is not condoned. As well as if they are watching this, I recommend to you that you do get therapy and get help. I know you've said multiple times and have an excuse to not get therapy, but there are many online resources where you can actually get active access to therapy. By just a simple link and a simple text, you can get therapy online and it'll help a lot. Just because your country doesn't allow you to get therapy doesn't mean you don't have access to it. That's all for this video. Stay safe and have a good day.